But what's cool about this is it's very, very simple and folds up.
Yeah.
Like this one, if we put some glue in those joints, it's actually rock and roll. We've got our 2 thrones, the vom green.
Yeah.
Lunch hour.
Yeah.
Slow walk.
Okay, cool.
Go. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so turns out you don't only make an excellent chair, which I'm sitting on, but you make an excellent iced coffee. So cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, thank you. So we've got a WhatsApp group, which happens, all the stuff that we talk about, I see appears on there. And I've been seeing pieces of wood glued together. I've been seeing sewing machines sewing.
Yeah.
So shit's happening.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That's quick. What's going on?
So it's happening. I think, like generally, we go around the wheel so many times. Like you've only seen a few of the things that we've gone round and round of, because that's kind of the nature of this. Like churn a lot, and then eventually some of the good stuff like sticks.
Yeah.
So we found. I think yesterday we found some pretty cool things, and worked on it right till the end of the day, trying to get the geometry lining up and testing that it would work. We had a few moments where it was like, geez, this is not going to work at all. Fundamentally, like it's just not going to work, like mathematically, which is like a truth, like a mathematical truth.
So hang on a second. So I'm talking to you about designing something that's deeply emotional and something that has meaning to you. Now you're talking to me about math. Like something's happened overnight.
It's like inevitably where everything goes. And hopefully it doesn't go to die. It goes to get tested and refined.
So that's part of your process, right?
It's part of the process of testing, and it's also part of the process of looking for magic sometimes in my process, because sometimes when you start applying some sort of rules and like rubric or whatever lines, it starts to get even more interesting, and you start finding like things you didn't know existed, like, oh, this is a really interesting proportion. What if we move that? What if we change that? That kind of stuff that doesn't come in that initial sketch.
But how do you make sure that you haven't lost that original line that you've drawn, which we talked about as being like the magic in design?
Yeah.
How do you know, like, when you're starting to kind of erase that a little bit?
I think it happens, and then you kind of start getting that feeling like, hey, we've lost our way here. Like, what's going on? Why are we doing this?
So you feel it. You
feel it.
Yeah. Okay.
You can feel something's gone wrong. And I actually had this thought this morning that I haven't really thought about before, which is like around this thing of rebellion. Like, I think creativity is like some form of rebellion. It's like rebelling against what is to like create something new. It's like to say, hey, there's another possible way. Not like too extreme a sense of rebellion, but like,
it's like a push-off point.
You need to like have some form of saying, well, I think there's another possible thing out here that could benefit us.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about how, like, when you rebel, you shouldn't rebel just for the sake of rebelling. That's stupid. Like, that's just a waste of time. Like, rebel for like good reasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna break out at night go and break out for like a good party and sneak off and like have the good party. Don't just be like, snuck out, like, whoa, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about
designing with a teenage mindset.
It is a little bit like, it's a little bit like, well, if we're gonna rebel here and create something, then like, what's the deep good reason for that? Like what? And that is kind of back to your point of the emotive, like what's really going on. So we hit that at the end of the day, and it looked really good. And then I woke up at 5 this morning with when you just like waking thought, like, no. This is not going to work. And I went to bed thinking it is going to work. And my subconscious was like churning the stuff around and around.
Okay, can I stop you again? Because when I left you yesterday, there was a couple of loose sketches around the stuff, and we talked conceptually around it.
Yeah.
So between then and in the course of yesterday, you made something.
Yeah.
Like what? I don't even know what that is.
I made a little, the corner, the folding joint of what would be a folding chair.
Okay. So the camping vibe, you were going with that.
Kind of going into that camping space, thinking it's meditative, like a meditation stool for camping, like in that. So being out in nature, but using materials that are not normally used in that space to really bring out like a luxuriousness and celebration of that.
Right.
That was kind of like the guide yesterday. So I made a folding detail to test that joint, because that joint is going to be the make or break of the piece.
Right.
If it doesn't work, that's
Okay.
start again. And that's kind of where we landed this morning, where I was like, I don't know if this is actually going to work or not. So I came in here, then at like 5, I sketched, I got up, I couldn't like sleep anymore, like, okay, I'm done. Fortunately, it was a nice morning. Birds were chirping and all of that. So I just sat and I thought, okay, let me like write down what's going through my mind, try and like figure out what it is. Wrote a bunch of stuff down around this idea of rebellion, and so I think this is like interesting. These are thoughts I haven't had before. And I think it's good to check yourself. Like, am I rebelling for a good reason? Or is this just like, I'm just rebelling?
Yeah.
And actually try to find the good reason. So I was busy with that, interspersed with about 3 other chairs, completely like random other ideas, which I think those are life rafts. Those are like the life rafts in the creative process, where you're like, this is not going to work, but here's a life raft. Here's another one. Here's another one. Where you're like kind of creating some safety for yourself, just in case one of these, like idea number 1, the one you really like and want, doesn't work. And this process is unscripted. Hey? It's so difficult to know. Like, you have to really like search yourself. Like, do I love this idea? Is there something in it? Am I just scared? Like, should I pull back? Should I push through? Is this the moment to like push through the fear into something new and interesting? It's super unknown. Like it's like mining the depths,
Yeah.
And I think sometimes if you get like too many thoughts and whatever, then it sort of loses its way, So this has been a ramble on the journey. The last 24 hours.
Okay, so you've come up with a couple of other designs that you think, when you talk about the life rafts, these other concepts that you come up with.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not very aligned to them.
Yeah.
But I kind of needed to go there, just to just kind of get everything out of my mind.
And what are these? I mean,
they're all variations of the same thing, but they're quite different approaches.
So still camping chair,
still kind of in that space.
Okay.
And what was very cool about that is, I think sometimes also when you go somewhere like to a life raft, you see that you actually don't want to go there. But now you've done it, so it's good. And I actually don't want to go there. So you've created that potential, and you look at it and you're like, no, I actually don't want to.
Okay.
Rather than like romanticizing about the idea of going there, you actually can just go there and look at it and go like, nah, it's like trying something on.
Yeah.
Like you look at it and the idea looks great, but you put it on, you're like, nah, actually this isn't me. Take it off.
Yeah.
Then you've tried it, you move on. Like quite assured, So that's kind of what happened to me this morning.
Okay, well, I'm very keen to see this. I was thinking kind of overnight, thinking like of my own camping chairs and thinking kind of really what you're saying is that there's an element of durability that's inherent into what you're going to produce if it was going to be a camping chair. Because they get battered around and get tatty. I was thinking like, okay, so whatever you make is going to have to be really robust.
Yeah.
And also, because the thing that you pack, and generally camping chairs actually come in a bag or with some kind of covering. So they're protected in a way. It's the thing that you check in the back of your car, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you going to show me now?
So I'm going to show you two things.
Okay.
The first idea, which is in part, let me just show you right now, man. Look at this. Thank you. Cheers. There we go. So this is the corner detail facing you. So this is the seat of the chair over here. So your bum is sitting over here.
Yeah.
This is the backrest.
Yeah.
And the idea is that it folds flat, and we would put a little notch over here where I've drawn that line, so that this will actually fold nice and flat down. And then you pull it up, and you as you lean back, you're levering against this.
Yes.
It kind of creates a nice and strong.
And is that strong enough with?
Well, this is what I woke up being worried about.
Okay.
And we actually constrained here by dimensions, and this is kind of how when the maths actually starts to trump everything else, because if this is a 40mm dowel and these are 20mm dowels and this is a 30mm dowel, then immediately there's like constraints. You can't drill too big a hole in this one, it'll break. So we kind of offset the holes, as you can see from the side. So it's like, to create that angle, this is 115 degrees that we want. Like that's an angle that's nice and comfy. Actually, I think we might have gone to 117, but something like that. And there's a bit of flex in it. there's nothing else. At this point, there's no glue or anything else. It's just in here on tension. And the sound you're hearing is the squeaking, because this is not glued.
Okay.
So as you move it, they move slightly inside, like that.
And what is this?
This is all oak.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Mostly our waste timber that we push through the dialing machine.
when I left you yesterday, you were saying metal.
Yeah.
Which is why when I saw the WhatsApp pictures, I was a bit surprised.
I know.
Okay.
The thing is,
so what changed your mind?
The thing is that for me, like the luxury feeling of timber and leather
Okay.
is like, that's how you get camping into this other kind of space, which is like very beautiful and very tactile, like contemporary sort of. I don't like the word glamping, but like if you're using more considered materials in that space that are not normally there, it immediately like elevates the moment. You know, it's like camping is all about being on the ground. You know, and what you normally see around is a lot of like chrome and khaki.
So then for a camping chair, a high-end camping chair, if we're talking about that, something, a luxury item. I mean, the finish, if you're using wooden leather, has to be like
amazing.
So stitching on the leather,
everything.
You're getting into that kind of territory, you know? Okay. And you're confident you can do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've actually been working with leather for like, I don't know, maybe 30 years or something, 25 years, like so long. When I was in varsity, I used to make leather sandals and sell them. I actually sold them all around the garden route in Cape Town. I had a few stores here.
Really?
And a few stores between here and George. And I used to supply them with sandals that I made.
I think we need to see a photograph.
Machine.
We need to see a picture of your leather sandals.
I made these little things. They were super nice. And I used to make them in the evenings, like after tech. I've got this 1920s Singer sewing machine. I've still got it here actually. And me and that machine just cruise. Yeah.